All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 2025 DAS meeting. So first thing, do we have any new members or people that are interested in joining that'd like to introduce themselves? I'm going to turn the camera on. You can say hello. Hi. Welcome. What's your interest in astronomy?
We were at the Cocoa and Constellations event, and it was really cool. And we were told about this, so here we are.
Very exciting. Thank you very much. Welcome. Anybody else?
Did you guys just buy that C8?
What's that?
Did you guys just buy a C8 over?
Oh,
No.
I was told not to say anything complicated.
I got you. All right.
Confirm or deny.
Got you. So next question, Bob, do you have anything to say about the dues? Are you still there?
I guess want to thank everyone who's paid their dues for 2025. We're sort of stopped the process of trying to solicit dues renewals. But if you haven't paid your 2025 dues, go to the website. It has instructions, or the past focus has had some instructions, or from emails from me. You can still pay, but we do appreciate everybody who's renewed. We had 137 people renew. So
very nice, very good. Thank you, Bob, for all your hard work. Wonderful. Next note is that in June, we have scheduled our picnic for June 28th at 3 p.m. Jeff, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so that's a Saturday. And we're thinking that we're going to do that, I don't want to say in lieu of, but as our June meeting. The plan at this point, more details to follow, will be I will be making some barbecue for everybody. And what we'll typically do is we'll say if people would like to contribute sides or desserts or non-alcoholic drinks to round out the meal, that would be great. Again, we'll start at 3. If people stick around long enough, we will transition into observing. I know it gets dark pretty late that time of year, but we'll see how it goes. So June 28th, correct?
Yeah, June 28th.
Saturday, June 28th, 3 p.m. Obviously, more details to follow in the newsletter as well as the groups.io.
Did you also want to mention the dinner?
Yeah, might as well. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So part of what that stemmed off of is, I guess, the bad news in conjunction is, for reasons that are complex and varied, we are not going to hold our dinner meeting this year, the May dinner meeting. We will hold a regular third Tuesday meeting in May. We'll have our board meeting, our regular general meeting with a speaker of some sort, but it will not be the offsite dinner meeting. Future years, again, stand to be decided, but a little bit of a look ahead. 2026 marks our 70th anniversary. And there's been some chatter about how we might maybe even go above and beyond to celebrate that. So again, stay tuned. But big thing is no May dinner meeting. So.
All right, next, APC. Bill?
Okay, right now we're looking at April 19th, Saturday, for the next APSIG meeting, but there's some scheduling questions still in the wind, so you'll have to pay attention to the groups.io announcement for an exact date.
I have a YouTube thing planned.
For the sake of new people, what is APC?
Pardon?
For the sake of the new people, what is APC?
APSIG is the Astrophotography Special Interest Group. Okay, so if you look, and be sure to look in the back of the focus for the astrophotos that we put in there. Not all of them get in there, but there are some good ones. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Mary, did you want to speak about the book club?
Yes, good evening, everyone. You are all members of the DAS, and their guests are cordially invited to the March meeting of the DAS Book Club. We'll be meeting uncharacteristically on a Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. March 30th, so make a note on your calendar. And we're meeting at this time to accommodate our speaker, Dr. Roberto, or guest author, Dr. Roberto Trota, who wrote Starborn, How the Stars Made Us and Who We Would Be Without Them. It's an award-winning book. Dr. Trota is from Trieste, Italy, but he is currently teaching in London, where he will be joining our Zoom. Greg McNiff, who is a member of the DAS and also a member of the Amateur Astronomers of New York, will be leading the discussion, and members of the Amateur Astronomers of New York will be have been invited to the meeting as well. Thank you. Hope you all can join.
Thank you very much. Next. Hello? Heard something. All right, next thing is outreach events. Do you want to talk about that, Jim?
Certainly. We had a successful outreach event at the Newark Reservoir, sponsored by the Newark Parks and Recreation Department. It's known as Cocoa and Constellations. I see some new members there at the Mount Cuba tonight because of that outreach event. So we had there were 130 attendees that came by to see the planets from our telescopes. And so I need to give a big shout out to Jim Chang, Greg Lee, Ian Alejandro, who is, by the way, the new owner of Diana Metzger's 10-inch truss daub, Andy Rokita and his lovely fiance, and let's see. I think that's it. Isn't that right, Greg? That was about it.
Also, Jim Kirshen for organizing it all.
Absolutely. Can't forget it.
Well, I try to downplay my contributions.
And don't we have an upcoming event?
We have an upcoming, the next upcoming event we have is April 26th at the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science on Kennett Pike. And that, believe that starts at, well, I don't remember exactly what time it starts at. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Nighttime.
That makes sense.
Anyway, so that's all we've got.
All right, very nice. Thank you. Do we have any other announcements I missed?
I have a question.
Yes.
So we're not having a dinner meeting, we have a meeting in, would we?
Yeah. Correct. In May. Yeah. Any other announcements we missed? Yes.
Yeah, hi, everybody, Bob Unger. Jeff reminded me to make an announcement that the Mount Cuba Astronomical Observatory is going back to something it used to do apparently some years ago, which is hold more of an academic style astronomy education course. This time we'll be patterning it off of Rice University's kind of freshman year astronomy series. They do this through something they call OpenStax. Yes, you can buy the textbooks. It's because it's a 2-semester program, total of 30 chapters. But you can also download the textbook for free. It's a bit of a tome, over 1,200 pages. But we'll be covering all 30 chapters in both semesters, starting April 25th. Predominantly, classes will be held either on a Tuesday night and/or a Friday night. We've already got the schedule set up. The question is, can we get enough students to justify it? So that's why I make the announcement. If you know of anybody who has an interest in it, is looking for something that may be a little bit more regimented and academic than is typically found at your typical kind of open night, astronomy open night. This is it. Very, very reasonably priced. And we hope to have fun with it. It's something I've done in the past, this identical course. And we're going to see how it works here. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to reach out to Kim. I know Kim mentioned this at the last meeting.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
That's a good question. I'll be honest with you. The course was originally designed for freshman students who wanted to learn astronomy, but were non-science majors. So it's kind of basic high school physics math. However, depending upon the nature of the students, and so the last time I taught this, I mean, I had a guy with a master's in astrophysics taking like a basic freshman course because he hadn't done it in 15 years. You know, he got his master's in astrophysics, went into finance, you know, and this is what he wanted. But because I had that kind of level of student, I kind of ramped it up and kind of made it more of a freshman class for majors, for science majors anyway. There will also be associated with it. The design is we spend a lecture class, about a 2-hour class, lecturing and answering questions on the subject reading, which is chapter by chapter. So one class is one chapter. And then after that, there will be kind of a lab. We'll go out into the open sky. It really is designed for kind of, I guess, novices or beginners. And kind of just learn the night sky, learn the basics of telescopes and how they work and all that kind of stuff.
Good, very cool. Thank you very much.
And I also want to thank those, Rob, who kind of been volunteering, kind of help out, because 30 lectures and 30 labs for one person to do is a lot. So for any of you who I know we've got offers of help along those areas. If you're interested in taking a class or two, I'd first encourage you to download the textbook, go through the table of contents, see what kind of area is most interesting to you, get the syllabus, match it up with the date, and say, hey, Rob, how would you like to take a break on this night?
Yeah.
I can about 99% assure you that I will say yes.
Nice.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Yeah. Yep.
Well, hang on.
Yep.
Easy. We'll get to you.
Oh, something else.
Was that?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're ready, you can
Yeah.
take over your stuff. Yep.
Cool. All right. So the main meeting for this month are member mini talks. We've got 6 people that are talking about a couple of different things. And I'm going to start because actually my talk is really a segue between announcements and the mini talks, as is yours. So we'll kind of segue from announcements into actual talks. And talk about outreach. Again, we've all experienced one way or another how awesome outreach is. Number one, it's aligned with our mission. Number two, it reminds us all of why we got into this hobby in the first place. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's really awesome when it brings people into the club itself. So can't ask for much more than that. One extra thing you could ask for, though, is ice cream. And so I'm going to be talking about, we are once again going to do our series of outreach events at Woodside Farm Creamery this year. For those that don't know, Woodside Farm Creamery is a very delicious small ice cream shop in the Hockessin area. North Star Road, and I don't know what the other road is, but you can find it. Yeah, we're doing the event on Friday nights, usually around first quarter, with one exception that the 4th of July happens to be a Friday on fourth quarter, so that we're going to do that one on January 5th. All of those events, July. I say it all the time. We've got 12 months in the year and 26 letters in the alphabet, and yet 3 of the months all start with J. There's no reason for this. So when I become president, we're going to rename the months so that we don't duplicate letters. Exactly. So the 4th of July is a Friday, so we will have the single exception of a Saturday event on the 5th of July. I figured it out. It's a lot of fun, very casual, because the majority of the folks are really there for the ice cream. We're the sideshow, but it's really cool because you get a lot of people that have probably never looked through a telescope and not even ever thought to look through a telescope. And so again, it's a lot of fun. The usual mode is if there's questionable weather, I will hold the event anyhow, because again, the ice cream is always good. And you never know, we can sit there and chat with people and answer questions. And occasionally we get lucky that a night that was predicted to be cloudy turns out not to be. If they call for rain, I usually will then cancel it because ice cream only goes so far. So they're a lot of fun. Take a look at the calendar. I usually start the events an hour before sunset. But again, that's reflected on the club's calendar. Each event has its own start time. And the extra little pitch for newer members or members that would like to get involved, we always say outreach is a great way to get started or to get more involved with the club. If you think you don't know enough, forget it, because our typical audience is someone that knows basically zero. And even more than that, if you don't have a telescope, but would like to have a telescope to use at an outreach event, we've got a closet full of them. So come to an astronomy workshop, let's say the Tuesday before one of our outreach events. We'll check you out, give you a telescope. In 2 minutes, we'll teach you how to use it because they're very simple, and that's about as long as it takes to. Borrow the telescope, use it for the outreach, use it if you want for another month or two. Bring it back. I actually borrowed, I think, the club's loaner telescopes for like 2 years until I finally broke down and bought one myself. So consider that. That being said, if you don't have a telescope and don't want one, you're also welcome to come because we tend to get hounded with questions. And those of us that have telescopes can keep our focus on the telescope. So again, they're really fun events. Look at the calendar. They're all in there. Any questions about that? Cool. Next talk, which is again kind of a transition from announcement to event, is Mike Cimorosi. And Mike, I've got your I can bring this up while you maybe. I got your flyer. Here we go, Mike, all yours.
Make sure you share the screen.
Okay. Oh. Take two.
I have hard copies, so I'll be able to get it out anyway.
Okay, Mike, go for it.
Okay. Well, speaking of outreach and anniversaries, last September I was able to participate in the Delaware Astronomical Society. And I did a demo there, and I happened to be talking with Kathy Ferrano, who's the special projects manager there. And I mentioned that this is the 65th anniversary of the wing. And so then I told them the background, and Delaware State University was part of that rover mission, two of them, missions to Mars. So Delaware is putting footprints on Mars. Most people didn't even have a clue. Kathy didn't know either. So anyway, I said, well, how about if we have some sort of an event to celebrate the 60th anniversary in May? So, okay, got together with a buddy, and we decided that would be a good idea. So I began, of course, I'm going to be there, and I have a few things I'm going to demonstrate, a laser, space-related kind of things. And and what I'm trying to do is encourage you folks to maybe give a presentation, not a demonstration, but some sort of presentation. For example, suppose you went to Mauna Loa, an observatory of laser guide stars, and you're interested in talking about that experience. You're just a person I want to talk to. They want people to come to this. I want people to come to this event to talk about any application of lasers you can think of. Laser surgery, laser communication, you name it. Holography, if you have any interest in explaining any of that to the public. And the public goes from sixth graders to retirees. So there's a spread of people there. So I'm gonna pass this around. If you're interested in participating in that, that would be great. You can just contact me that way and you know, kind of go from there. But it's also a great opportunity for you to be there and to, you know, plug for the club. Okay, because you'll be talking with the public, there'll be lots of people coming through, and you can tell them about, you know, you're interested in astronomy, but it's a good outreach experience for most people. So that's about it. I will pass these out. And if you're interested in this, great. I did this last time, not as many of you were here this time. Well, laser bug bit me back in 1969. I was working with Bell Labs. We were under contract with NASA Aerospace Flight Center doing laser communications. They knew that before we landed on the moon, they would fire lasers that way. Nobody on Earth could do that. And they hired us to work on that project, and I never lost my interest in it. It was one of the things that didn't stick with efforts. Okay. Anybody needs one, let me know. When you're done, you go and take a nice paper airplane now.
So, it was intended to, so you're gonna give some presentation and then again later in the day.
Oh, well, the details here is 10 to 2, but some of the people at Delaware State University are going to talk about your experience through the Delaware State and NASA connection and some other laser applications. And you don't have to stay there from 10 to 2. If you have a little shtick you're going to do, and it takes you 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, then we'll schedule it. That's what we're getting ready to do for 32 months away. So trying to schedule people. I'm going to be in a hallway towards my table with my demos. So it's a walk by. Some will be if you want to have a room, then they need to schedule a room. Scott Jackson and I participated last fall, and he got a room, and it's equipped with stuff. If you want to do PowerPoint or whatever, it's going to be real toys. But if you want to do PowerPoint, you just want to talk about some experience or anything. If there are any educators out here, if you just want to bring a laser and do a simple experiment demonstrating something, so it doesn't have to be high research oriented. I've told all the professors that I work with at Delaware State that you don't have to get there. It's not PhDs, it'll be addressing. It's going to be kids from 6. They ask the best questions. Okay, all the way up to whatever. So again, it's a good an opportunity for outreach for all of you, and it's a nice way to celebrate the laser. 70 years for McKibben, 65 years for the laser. We missed the last 60th anniversary due to COVID. I was all set, and then that ruined it. So I'm back. So if any of you are interested, contact me on here, and I'll let Kathy know because she's trying to write what you'd like to talk about. How much time would you like? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? So we'll fit it all in there. And so again, contact me if you will have any questions, anything about it, or if you're interested. Any questions? Not now. It's like my class. Any questions? No questions. All about the brain. Okay. All right. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mike. Rob, I think you'd be a good segue.
Yeah. All right, maybe tilt that up a little bit.
Yeah.
More. Might be good. You can man that. All right, so I'm going to talk quickly about NEAF. So if you don't know, NEAF stands for the Northeast Astronomy Forum, and it's something that's held in the Northeast of the United States in New York State every single year. And it's run by the, I believe, Rockland Astronomy Club. And that's a great institution. They have a lovely facility at a local college in the area that you can definitely check out. It's a wonderful place to go visit. So right here, you can see this is a photo I took from the balcony as soon as you enter. And you can see all the different exhibitors and vendors and people showing off their mirror making skills and all sorts of exciting things going on. And over here, you can see a set of solar scopes out on the field in the middle, there's like a little yard area in the middle between the buildings where they set up solar scopes and all sorts of observing equipment for people to check out. Here's the website, what it looks like when it first loads. Kind of cool. And so I took a little movie of that to show you what it looks like. You can definitely check that out. It's neafexpo.com. Just go to that website. It'll give all sorts of details. It is April 5th to 6th of 2025. And their website has all sorts of details. So I'm going to give you a bunch of details during this presentation, but you certainly can check out their website to get a lot more info after this. So again, that's neafexpo.com. One of the great advantages of this place is it brings a lot of people together from the astronomy community, both professional and amateur. And you can hear some very nice talks from some very prominent people. Last year, we saw a talk by one of the Apollo 13 astronauts, as I recall, which was very exciting. Not last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. But yeah, it was really exciting. So definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. Here is a list of the confirmed speakers so far this year. They all speak at different times. There's a schedule that will be forthcoming. They haven't prepared that list yet of exactly what times they'll talk and on which days, but there probably will be more speakers that get added to this list as time goes on. So definitely check out that, see the updates, and yeah, there's some good speakers. Another thing that's a great thing to check out at NEAF is the vendors. And not just the people trying to sell you stuff, but also the people exhibiting stuff that they're working on. So you have amateurs, you have libraries, you have professionals, you have all sorts of different people trying to give you information in NEAF. So definitely walk around and explore those little booths and find out what they got to talk about. I have some photos here of DIS members and also just general photos of the area. And you can see all the different things we're checking out. So there have been people that have bought scopes there. In fact, I do remember one recent time when I went up, I think it was with Greg, and he brought home a scope when we went home. I know Fred has bought a number of things there. I've bought a number of things there. Say that again? Too often. Too often, yes, absolutely. So yeah, there's some great deals to be had. There's some great things to check out. By all means, explore and have fun with that.
One of the nice things about this, if I may add.
Yeah, by all means.
You can talk to the main people in these companies and ask them questions. So that if it's something that you're a little unsure about how it does in one respect or another, you can talk to the people who actually know without having to try to get them on the phone, which sometimes can be impossible. So it's a great place to do research on new equipment you might be interested in.
That is a great point. I could say that my mount that I use for astrophotography and visual astronomy is a Lost Mandy mount. And at NEAF a couple of years ago, I spoke with Scott Lost Mandy about the mount that they sold to me. And I had a couple questions and he answered me directly. He made the mount. I know, Greg, you spoke to, who was that in Australia? When you were interested, Al Nagler, certainly. Yeah. The eyepieces we bought. But you talked to somebody from Australia, didn't you? About Nexstar?
Serge Anthony.
Yeah.
The Nexus guy.
Because he was interested in buying one, and the guy that makes them was at NEAF. So that was really cool. So by all means, wander around and talk to people.
Get some discounts here.
Absolutely. A couple of times we've gotten Nagler eyepieces at an extreme discount because they were a blend sale going on. So definitely check it out.
How long will it take Greg to get his hand unstuck from the mirror stone?
Don't know. But yeah. Oh, I should also point out when we were looking at getting this pod, this was us checking out the pod at the exhibit, which was really cool. Here's the mirror makers from Stellafane in Vermont. You can see they're actually working on mirrors at the expo, at the conference, right there. Another point right here, we spoke with these folks that were doing the occultation timings at NEAF and talked about setting them up for a talk, and then they came and gave a talk for us. Another thing was we went to the Astronomy to Go booth a couple times, talked to Bob Sommerfeld, and then he came and gave us a talk. So check it out. These people are friendly. They're great to talk to. And
That's
you
right.
can
If you
get
don't
all
mind me
sorts of
interjecting,
opportunities. By all
a
means.
great segue.
Yeah.
We have gotten a number of speakers to come to the DAS through contacts that were made at NEAF. I'm not going to be going, but if anybody is, if you would be interested in sniffing around and seeing if there are some potentially interesting speakers, obviously take geography into account. We could put somebody up for a night in a hotel, but we probably can't like fly somebody in on an airplane. So if you kind of use that vague reference as a guide for how far away we could bring somebody.
Speak here.
To speak here, yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we can Zoom people in, but I like to have people here in person.
Agreed.
So if anybody's planning to go to NEAF, maybe just talk to me ahead of time because I can give you a few other pointers and tidbits. And I might even give you a list of all the past speakers that you could cross-reference while you're up there. But
yeah,
that could be a huge favor for me as I'm planning, future sessions. To see if we could come up with a couple of speakers out of NEAF. So
yeah, see if we could talk to Bob again.
Yeah.
He's a great speaker.
Yeah.
See if you'd like to come back. So here is a list of all the confirmed vendors for this year. They're the ones in yellow. The ones in white are people that have done it before who haven't confirmed yet, but just might. By the way, it's on the second page. It's a very long list of different vendors in the astronomical community. And it's probably the largest list you'll see at any conference for astronomy in the world. Right? It's quite a long list. So definitely check it out and see if the group you'd like to talk to will be at NEAF this year. They'll keep updating this as different organizations confirm that they're coming. So it will change as time goes on. One thing that's really fun is the raffles and the door prizes that take place all day long. I know a number of DAS members go to all the booths and are like, when's your raffle? When's your raffle? When's your raffle? And they get multiple raffle tickets and then they go to the different places and they win things. Fred, you've won things there before.
Quite often.
Yeah, quite often. I know, Bill, you've won things there before.
Don't call.
I think you won, I think Bader Solar Film.
That was Bob.
That was Bob Treblecott. Okay, it was Bob Treblecott. I know I won some things there as well. So certainly you can win things. Check it out. So again, in that field in the middle of the campus, they set up lots of solar scopes. And I have a number of photos that I'm going to share with you of DAS members and other folks looking through those solar scopes. So here you can see Bill McKibben and Craig Lee and lots of different people observing on the solar field.
And you can look through some really nice ones.
Oh, yes. These things, some of them cost $10,000 a piece. Back page, yeah. So that's to block the sunlight so it doesn't get in your eyes when you're trying to look at the sun in the scope. It's like a little shade so you don't get a sunburn on your forehead. Just a piece of foam, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's what this is for too, this little hood putting over his head. Yeah.
you don't want to have to look at the sun when you're trying to look at the sun.
Exactly. Totally logical, right? I think it's kind of interesting though as well. We have one of these downstairs. This projection system. The drive up there can also be very fascinating. Here's some photos from previous adventures that we've had on the way up to NEAF. This was kind of funny. I was like, take a photo of that. The last time we went, we tried to go to the Horn. It's been a previous talk. If you go back and watch our former YouTube videos from 2 years ago, you'll see all about that interesting adventure we had to go see the Holmdel Horn. and our failure in doing so. But we did go to see the former Bell Labs facility. We got to see this lovely sculpture. We drove around this facility and went inside. It's now called Bell Works. It was a pretty interesting place.
And I heard that that now is featured in some TV series.
Oh, interesting.
Does anyone know?
No? I
Could
haven't heard
that
that.
be, Severance?
Okay,
It looks
Is it?
similar to. something
Okay.
I've seen on that show,
Interesting.
the, tower.
it's a cool building.
It is definitely a cool building. It was worth checking out. They did a lot of cool things in that building, definitely. But some Bell Labs facilities are still open and we might visit them at some point. Unfortunately, they're not open on a Saturday when we might be going to see NEAF, and they're not open on a Sunday either. So unfortunately, that wouldn't work. But there is a museum there.
If you weren't gonna say, we went to try to see the horn and it was blocked off. Apparently some corporation bought the land.
Yeah.
But my understanding is the city bought the horn and is making it available to the public now, so.
So you may be able to see it on a tour in the future. That'd be cool. Yeah.
How long of a drive is it to get to me?
Is it 4 hours or 3.5?
Oh, I thought it was like 2.5.
2.5. I didn't remember. Yeah.
It's just over
West of New York City.
Yeah.
over the New Jersey line into Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I guess it depends on whether you encounter this.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah. All righty. Any questions?
So just one other comment, because a lot of us have enjoyed this in the past. Consider carpooling.
Yeah.
And make
Yeah.
You know.
Put your names on the, IO if you're interested in carpooling with somebody to meet.
Yeah.
Because there often are 2 or 3 groups of people that head up there.
Yeah.
And they have
Definitely.
seats.
Definitely.
Cool.
All right. Next.
Thanks, Rob. So yeah, please use the groups.io if you're interested in going and you're interested in carpooling. Bill McKibben, you ready?
Thank you, sir. All right, so what I did on my winter vacation. About a month ago, I made a trip to St. Croix. Awesome trip, but what's it got to do with astronomy? Well, let's see. So this is a clear, dark sky map of the island. We stayed in where the line's pointing to in the northwest side of the island. It's Bortle 4 skies there. We went to Texas for the eclipse, and the skies there were listed as Bortle 3. It was every bit as dark there. The far tip of the island is listed as Bortle 3. I really wanted to get out there at night, but didn't get out there at night. But enjoyed some really dark skies. We were on the beach. I walked 3 minutes to the beach, had lounge chairs there at the beach to myself. I put 2 lawn chairs, one facing north, one facing south, and I would just flip flop from one to the other, listening to the waves gently break on the beach. It just doesn't get any better. So I had real nice views of the southern sky. I did have a mountain behind me in the to the south of me, so I couldn't really see low on the horizon, but got a great view of Sirius was way high in the sky, and amazing views. And so northern sky was equally nice. Had great views of Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. And then I did catch Mercury at sunset later in the week. So moving.
Dark enough there, you can see the lines of the constellation.
Yeah, oh, yeah. They had the labels up there too.
That's dark.
So I didn't make it to the east end of the island at night, but I did make it there. And this is Point Udall. And Point Udall is named for some governor or some politician named Udall, and it's the easternmost point on St. Croix. It's also reportedly the easternmost point in the United States, depending on what metric you use. Yeah, it's questionable at best. There's also what's reputed to be the westernmost point in the US is in Guam. And apparently Udall's brother is a namesake of the point in Guam. So easternmost, westernmost are both named after Udalls, and they get to argue at Thanksgiving dinner over who's got the best bragging rights. So this structure here, this is a Millennium Monument. It was built at the turn of the millennium. It's designed to show two M shapes in the stones, two opposing M shapes. The M represents the Roman numeral for 1,000, so two of those equals 2,000. The pole in the middle acts as a gnomon for a sundial, and on January 1st of the year 2000, the noontime sun cast a shadow on the south-facing edge of the north structure there. So this is a plaque that tells the story, and no amount of Photoshop could make it any more readable. But I also tried to capture a shadow from the sundial and the pole there. Didn't get much of a shadow, it was kind of overcast, but what we lacked in shadow, we made up for in ugly stickers all over the pole.
Everywhere.
So this was at the easternmost point of the island, moving inland about a mile or two. We had a 25-meter radio antenna. It's part of the very, very large baseline array, as it says there. I guess my box is.
You can move it if you want.
Not much more to see there, but so this is very large baseline array. It's an array of 10 radio telescopes. This is the easternmost antenna. The westernmost is on Mauna Kea in Hawaii, and there are 8 more in the mainland continental United States. I think they said that their headquarters is in Los Alamos, New Mexico. They take so much data here that they have extremely accurate timestamps. They load it all onto hard drives and ship it to headquarters. All the different sites ship it to headquarters, where they compile all the data to make one giant image with a resolution spanning from St. Croix all the way to.
Does it have a specific observation target?
I'll move to the next one.
You might be in the Zoom window.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I listed a couple of the accolades. They study black holes, distant radio sources, and all the usual suspects. Some of the discoveries they've made, because of the width or how wide the array is, they can make extremely accurate measurements down to 1,000th of an arc second. They've discovered just a couple of them, the jet from a neutron star merger and the most distant blazar from back when the universe was about 800 million years old. They also settled the controversy of the distance to the Pleiades. I don't know who was arguing about it, but apparently they have the resolution to settle that. So moving back west, the west end of the island, there's a giant pier where all the cruise ships dock. When the cruise ships aren't there, it's a great spot for snorkeling and scuba diving. I took a scuba diving trip there, and I did 2 dives, one in the late afternoon and one in the evening. Between the 2 dives, we got to watch the sunset, and one guy kind of mentioned it to me, and oh yeah, let's keep an eye out for that. So I caught the green flash as the sun dropped below the. This is not my picture. Let me be real clear with that. The sky was not that red, but the green flash itself was a pretty good representation of what I saw. So that was extremely cool. And so yeah, I got 4 astronomically related events out of my trip. And talking about the dive trip there, I'll segue into my non-astronomical bonus content. Went scuba diving and met a lot of fishy friends. So this was from the night dive. It's a big jackfish. It's a French angelfish, one of my favorites, and he's right along one of the columns in that pier. And you see all the coral that grows on the columns. It's what makes it such a good site. Stingray doing what stingrays do.
How deep is that there at the pier?
It's 20, 30 feet, so it's not that deep. We snorkeled there too, and you could see the turtles on the bottom. And so, yeah, I saw quite a number of turtles, and this guy was begging me to take his picture.
I was gonna say, I don't know how you get a turtle to pose like that.
Yeah, he's Come here.
I was ready to smile.
He kept asking that. And so then there's this guy, got up close and personal with him, and the only thing cooler than seeing a shark like that is seeing two sharks. And on this particular dive, there was a number of sharks swimming around, not threatening at all. I mean, we were perfectly comfortable. They're just swimming around, slow motion.
That's what they want you to think.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy, the lionfish are extremely invasive throughout the Caribbean. And so there was a guy that was spearing them, and he would, kill them and just shake them off the end of his spear. And I didn't see it. I saw him get a couple lionfish, but they were telling me that the sharks would come and eat them. So
How big are those guys? Stay away from the guy who-
they were good size. I mean, 6-7 feet, which sounds kind of huge, but yeah, I mean, they were good size. I mean, really, their mouth is about this big. Yeah, they could mess you up if they wanted to, but they have no. I meant to look that up. I'm thinking reef shark. I know I've seen black tip and white tip, and that has no tip other than the regular tip. So you stumped me on that. But can't top that, so that's it for my winter vacation.
Thanks, Bill. Dave. Still out there?
So, which day?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay.
If you want, I've got your photos on here. I can flip through them however you want to work it.
Oh, yeah.
You want to start with, you want to put any of them up yet?
I probably don't even really need the photos since we have the scopes.
You
here.
got it. I'll just.
But anyway, this was like a fun little project that I did. This isn't going to be like the kind of telescope you're going to use all the time. Yep, see. But these are pretty much facsimiles of the same kind of telescopes that Galileo used. And see, there are two simple lenses, one in the front, one in the back. And this is pretty much what he had. A positive one, a negative one in the back. And back in 2008, I actually made a couple of these before, and I used this 2-inch tube. But a couple months ago, I decided I want to make something that looked more like Galileo's telescope than this thing. And so I let Dave Growski found this tube for me at work, and I was able to use this tube to make this one. And then I found more of these tubes on eBay, and so I built a second one. Ooh, I'm gonna mess these things up. But anyway, one of the things from my first set of telescopes was this is kind of like a fake bezel for the front. The Galileo's telescopes had movable lens holders. So he could actually, if you wanted to use this thing close up, you just pull that out. And this way you could focus much closer, which I never even used this feature, but. So at infinity, looking at the sky, you just push this all the way in and you focus like that. And these things are, oh my God. I don't know if you can do it, probably inside you could do it. You could hold this up after the meeting if you want to check it out. Or if anybody wants to maybe look at Jupiter through one of these after the meeting, and if it's in the clear, we can try that. So you can see similar to what Galileo had, but these are much better optically because they're like machine made in Japan and sent over here. These lenses are actually really good quality. Unlike Galileo, back then the glass wasn't that good and the polishing techniques weren't very good. So this is going to give you a better image than what Galileo saw, but still very similar. And another thing I did on these set is we found a guy at a craft show, a really good wood maker, and he agreed to make these wooden parts for me on the lathe because I couldn't really build these myself. So I gave him I just made a little diagrams of the parts I wanted with the specs on it, and he made these parts for me. So these use 50mm lenses because they're just the easiest ones to work with. And as you see, you have to stop the lens down with that little donut-shaped plate there in the front. That's the aperture stops it down, and it sharpens up the view. You don't want to use these at full aperture because of chromatic and spherical operation. But yeah, actually this thing really gives a sharp view. It's just a really tiny little field you get. And this is This one is like the same scope. It's got the same lens in the front, but it's got it's called the Kepler. This is a Kepler scope now. And I do have a Galileo eyepiece for this, but this one has a positive eyepiece in the back, and it's like much better. Like this telescope, you can see the entire belt, or sorry, the entire sword of Orion. Where if you're looking at the sword of Orion with this, you just pretty much see the little area right in the center where the nebula is. But this gives you a much nicer view.
What's the F ratio?
I don't know. I have to figure it out, but like I said, it's like these both have 1,000mm focal length lenses, and they're stopped down to about an inch. So you just figure that out. But we have it's a 25 into 1,000. It's
40?
Yeah,
At 40?
so they're at 40s, yeah. And actually, the guy, this one here, he actually even machined the little cubby hole in here, and I was able to drop the lens right in the back, and I just put this donut piece on the top and holds it in place. So I think this one uses like foam to hold, well, not here, but I used on my other one, like a piece of foam and held the eyepiece or the eye lens in place with that. But so yeah, if anybody wants to look through one of these after the meeting, we can do that.
So which one's closest to what Galileo is looking for?
Probably, well, these both, I tried to make them as close as Galileo's two existing telescopes as possible. I think the real fancy one, I couldn't make a replica of Galileo's telescope because they're just too, like the one's got all this fancy stuff in gold, and it's just be impossible. You can buy one, I think, you used to be able to buy one from Sci Antiques or some website used to make them. I don't know how much they were. They're probably astronomically priced, but they made copies of Galileo's telescopes and look just like his telescope. But these lenses with the 1,000mm focal length, and this one has a 1,200mm focal length, were about the closest I could get. But I wasn't going nuts. I was just trying to make something that looked like Galileo's telescope, not, be an exact copy of it. So.
If you look at Jupiter tonight and the moons of Jupiter and the small field of view, it gives you a great appreciation for what Galileo really was able to accomplish.
Because these things, I'm telling you, man, they're tough.
And then when you see the historical drawings and you realize those moons were moving back and forth.
It took a good eye, even,
He was a great observer.
He was, yeah, to be able to see that through something as primitive as this. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, out of all the telescope designs, refractors have probably advanced the most. Newtonians are still pretty much the same they always were. Catadioptrics, they're the same as pretty much when they first came out. But refractors, and we now have these triplet apochromatic refractors that are just like superb, especially if it's in astrophysics. I mean, they're like heirloom quality telescopes, and so this is what started it all. Two simple lenses.
Cool.
You can also use these seated too, which I do sometimes. I have like a little drummer stool, and you can actually sit and just adjust the height on this however you want to, and sit down. And it's a lot easier to. But yeah, these are, and you'll see if anybody looks at one of these tonight, you'll be like, oh my God. Yeah, it's like far cry from vangular eyepieces.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
I think you felt probably like
Over the past several months, we've had a very wonderful contribution to the club. Our member Andy has sent emails every now and again updating us on various current events and ongoings, which has been really cool. Definitely something that the club was lacking, so an awesome contribution. And to complement that, Andy is going to join us tonight to give a live talk about some stuff that is going on. Andy, all you.
Thank you, sir. Hello, and I saw you guys at the reservoir, so welcome. Thanks for coming. And shout out first to my better half, all the way in the back in the yellow sweater. That's my fiance, Liz. She helped me do the PowerPoint. Because I really don't care for PowerPoint all that much, and I try to avoid it at all costs, but if I say, yeah, they want me to do a presentation. All right, you should have seen her enthusiasm. So I don't know if some of you probably have heard, but Butch and Sonny splashed down successfully a couple of hours ago in the Gulf. So they are now home after 9 months of being up there. And the next month or so is they're going to be hurting the next month, getting used to gravity, but they're home again. So I wanted to give a little chat of, well, good news that they're home. Bad news is from last week, Delaware was a bust, unfortunately. I know a couple members went up to Pennsylvania, I think, and got a couple good pictures of the blood moon before it clouded up. But here, I was outside of my house. I got about most of the first contact going near, I'd say about 90% partial, and then it just got overcast and no totality. 3 a.m. I called it a morning. I was done. So it was a bust. But something else did see totality. That is the Blue Ghost lander that landed successfully on the moon in Mare Crisium in the eastern hemisphere of the near side on March 2nd. That is what that got. So whenever there's a lunar eclipse on Earth, it is a solar eclipse on the moon. So it got to see totality. That is the Earth that you're seeing there that is blocking the sun. So I'm sure, as I put in my latest newsletter, Professor Liebenberg, I'm sure would really enjoy that. And if you don't know who that is, Donald Liebenberg, he was a professor at Clemson, I think, or he's emeritus now. He's in his 90s. He has been in totality more than any other human being alive, and he's still around. He's in his early 90s now.
Wouldn't the Earth block out the sun even more because it's so much bigger from?
Yes.
It looks like you can see the perimeter of it in that picture.
Mm-hmm. That was the image of the rover, the lander sent
It
back.
almost looks like the whole sun should be gone because the Earth's so much bigger than we typically see the moon cover.
We have light scatter from the atmosphere.
It would be, it would be a diamond ring moment. From view from the moon.
I'm just saying, because that's the Earth covering the sun, I would see any of that. It would just cover everything.
Well, that's not totality, I'm guessing, right?
Not the moment.
Not the moment of it. It's in diamond.
Okay, gotcha.
Remember that the Earth is 4 times as wide as the moon. So if we're looking up at the moon from here, quadruple it. That's the size of the Earth you see from the moon.
So it's gonna blot out that sun big time on the moon.
Yeah.
Well, you can almost kind of make, maybe I'm using too much imagination, but I feel like you can almost get a sense of the moon. I mean, the Earth looking a lot bigger than the sun. But yeah, that's cool.
And also you're looking back at Earth in its atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you get that refraction all the way around.
Refracting light.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, yeah.
So speaking of that, this is the Blue Ghost Mission 1 from Firefly Aerospace, touchdown on March 2nd. And that is its first picture from Mare Crisium on the moon. And basically, they're going to have it's a commercial lunar payload. They're going to do regolith samples, lunar dust mitigation, because as anybody knows, if we're going to build a base on the moon, one of the biggest problems that they're going to have is the regolith, because that soil is almost like glass. So if you breathe it, you're basically going to have black lung within a year. So one of the things they have to really be concerned about is the regolith, but also if they go underground in lava tubes in the future or something like that, I mean, because of the solar radiation, that regolith is also going to be a good protector of them too. So if you've seen the show on Apple TV called For All Mankind, I don't know if any of you have seen that. It is an excellent show, and I do recommend you check it out. That's one of the things they talk about when they're on the moon. So it's going to be about a 2-week mission. So they'll probably shut it down by the end of the month. And there was another lander that did attempt to land on the 6th. It was called the Athena. And it actually did land, but it tipped over. So, and then, so the power source was lost. So it's dead. So landing on the moon is a lot harder than you think. I mean, and then so these are some upcoming missions. And of course, I had to put Mr. Bonestell in there. That is, as they say, that is the painting that launched 1,000 space careers. So, or more, I'm sure more. So here's the dream team. They are on their way right now, both of them. The JUICE orbiter and the Europa Clipper. The JUICE is known as the Jupiter Icy Moons Orbiter. This is from the European Space Agency. Main target is going to be mainly Ganymede. They're going to focus on Ganymede the most. It's already on its way, launched in about 2 years ago. It's going to reach Jupiter orbit around July of 2031. It's going to do a Venus flyby later this year and 2 additional Earth flybys for the gravity assist to get it up to Jupiter. So in December of 2034, it's going to move from Jupiter orbit into Ganymede orbit. And it's going to focus on the ocean layers, possible water reservoirs that are under Ganymede's surface, which people think there are. They're going to do a full map of the surface, magnetic fields, and then it's going to focus on Europa a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't run into the Clipper up there. It's going to do chemical composition, surface features, examinations of the crust, see how deep the crust is compared to the liquid ocean underneath. Now, for the record, I may interject with some opinions. So this is, so if you disagree, please tell me offline. But the goal, late 35 to 36, they're going to plan to impact this mission into Ganymede's surface. And this is where my opinion comes in. I'm not a fan of that. I think they should have had additional fuel to launch it to Jupiter and burn it up there, because I am very worried about possible contamination. That is my concern. Huge concern. So if it was Io, if they were going to hit Io with it, I mean, the volcanoes will wipe it out, sure, but Ganymede, I'm very concerned about possible contamination.
Yeah, tremendous amount of radiation around Jupiter, it's sterilizing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm paranoid, Dave.
Going underground.
Yeah, I'm very paranoid. So
It's gonna be in Jupiter's orbit.
yeah, it's going to be in Jupiter's orbit, then it's going to move to Ganymede orbit.
Why so long?
I'm thinking, my guess is, don't quote me, but it could be because of the fuel consumption, and then also with the orbital calculations, they're probably going to wait a few years for the optimal time to put it in Ganymede orbit, so they don't burn too much fuel.
What's the purpose of sending it into Ganymede?
They're going to do very detailed studies of Ganymede, including full surface mapping. They're going to try to examine.
I mean, slamming it into Ganymede. Why do they want to do that?
See if possibly if anything comes up from the surface, like if the subsurface reservoir is a lot closer to the surface than they think it may be, but I don't think they're going to get anything out of it. I think that if there's an ocean under Ganymede, it's deep. I mean, because anything that gets close to the surface is going to freeze, probably. So your Europa Clipper, that's the NASA mission. That's the JPL, and it finally launched last year on a Falcon Heavy rocket. That was took a long time to get this thing off the ground. And there's a great book called The Mission. I think his name's Dave Brown was the author. He's a science journalist. You're reading this book, you're just stunned about all the politics and the bureaucracy just to get this thing up there. So, but it's finally launched, and it's supposed to reach Jupiter actually earlier than the JUICE. It's going to be there in 2030. It already conducted a flyby of Mars this past month, and December of next year, it's going to do another flyby of Earth, and that's going to boost it to Jupiter. And the main thing, obviously the name, focus on that amazing frozen ball up there called Europa. And if you've been to any of the public events, I'm sure you've heard my spiel on that beautiful moon. So they're going to focus on habitability for any future Europa landers that are probably coming about 20 years, hopefully. They're going to look at possible landing sites. They're going to look at that ice shell up close and personal, geologic composition. Now, unlike JUICE, Europa Clipper is going to stay in orbit of Jupiter. It's not going to do any moon orbits. It's just going to do flybys of Europa. And so because of course, due to the radiation belts in Jupiter, I mean, you really got to calculate your orbits just like they do with Juno right now that's in orbit, because it flies too much through the magnetic field, it's going to fry it. So you definitely got to be careful about that. And they also are thinking, just like they did with Cassini, because they got some good training with Cassini when they flew through my other favorite moon, Enceladus. When it flew through the plume, they're thinking if they capture a plume coming out of Europa, they might attempt to fly by through the plume, but stay tuned. Yeah, it would be awesome. I mean, and I think that mission, when the mission ends, I think they're going to crash that one into Jupiter, so, and burn it up. And so, Titan, that's my third favorite moon. Enceladus, Titan, Europa. They're my big three. So Dragonfly, that is going to launch now approximately July of 2028. That's what they're expecting. It's going to arrive in Titan 2034. They're expecting probably a Falcon Heavy booster is going to launch it, maybe even Starship. We don't know. Likely a Falcon Heavy due to its proven track record now. So they're going to land. It's basically going to be a helicopter style lander on Titan. And they are going to explore. It's going to be the first controlled flight on any moon outside of Earth's moon. And besides Mars, with the chopper on Mars. Ingenuity, of course. So it's like a quadcopter. It's going to travel about 25 miles an hour. It's going to get up to 25 miles an hour in the air due to the lower gravity and the more dense atmosphere. So it's definitely going to pick up a lot of, lift capability. So it's also going to examine soil and rock samples. Has a mass spectrometer. Pretty much every probe has one now. Panoramic cameras. It's going to look very pretty, I'm sure. Surface composition, atmosphere measurements. Also, they're going to check for if they get close to one of the seas, they're going to try to examine maybe the liquid methane that's there. So it's going to be, I think this one's going to be spectacular. And, but hopefully, as you probably heard from me, I want a mission to Enceladus within the next decade. Otherwise, I will be grumpy.
We're gonna request.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want Enceladus.
Dear NASA.
Yep. Or anybody. I don't care.
Dear anybody.
So, what about humans? Okay. So, if you're not sure what that image is, that's Buzz Aldrin. That is the Gemini 12 selfie that he took over almost 60 years ago. So, that's Buzz on his first flight before Apollo 11 made him famous. I don't know.
No.
Are we going to fly in April of next year? Is Artemis 2 going to fly? Because it was originally supposed to fly this year. They pushed it back. And this is where so if it does take off, this will be the second launch of SLS. And this is where my opinion is going to come in. I call it the Senate launch system. I do not call it space launch system. If you've read Lori Garver's book, which I highly recommend, she was a former deputy NASA administrator. She goes to town negatively on SLS. So, but if it does fly, it will be the first crewed flyby of the moon since Apollo 17, 1972. April 26, hopefully. But there is many delays, not just with SLS, but with the Orion capsule. Heat shield is a problem that they're really trying to work on. I mean, I'm not holding my breath. Let's put it that way. Now, they're expecting the flyby to be at 4,600 miles. Now, it's going to be a free return trajectory. Basically, they're going to loop around 4,600 miles up and then loop back to Earth. It's not going to enter lunar orbit. It's going to be a 10-day mission. Is it worth it? I mean, Apollo 8, 1968, it went into orbit. I mean, first human flight. I mean, they really pushed the envelope in 1968. You think they're being a little more risk averse, or I leave that's your opinion. And another thing about SLS, most of it except the boosters is not reusable. So that means this.
Why? What are they doing this for?
Politics. Because, I mean, I tried to explain this to my stepbrother because why are they in Houston? I mean, why can't they be at Kennedy Space Center? That's where they launch it. I said, early 1960s, the head of the space group that JFK set up was who? Lyndon Johnson, vice president. Where's he from? Texas.
Yeah, we did.
So if I'm a senator from Texas, I'm going to say, why am I voting for billions of dollars? What's in it for me? Well, we'll move NASA to Houston. We'll move the now Johnson Space Center to Houston, or a congressman from another state, like say I'm in Delaware. Oh, you have a company in Delaware called, what's the name of it?
ILC.
ILC, there we go. Slipped my mind. We're going to contract with them to build the spacesuits. I vote yes.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, NASA's a government agency, so I mean, you got to spread the wealth. I mean, because I'm gonna say.
Oh, I'm not on this. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The video's off.
Do we wanna,
Want to mute them?
can you,
Have to do that. Actually, are they saying the video?
To this.
Is the video off?
I think it's just back chatter.
Oh,
Yeah, I can do that.
how bad of a way there. I don't want to screw this up. I will not be that guy.
I'm gonna have to stop.
So if I'm a congressman, obviously running for reelection, I'm gonna tell my constituents, I'm gonna say, well, I just brought 1,000 engineering and tech jobs to our district, and they're gonna build the spacesuits that are gonna take men to the moon. Vote for me.
Oh, yeah.
But like, are they
I
trying
already
to
did.
find anything, get any information?
Well, I mean, it's basically gonna be, for Artemis 2, it's basically gonna be a test flight. I mean, they're gonna test flight with a crew, because they already did an uncrewed flight with Artemis 1, and it was successful for the most part, but the biggest problem with the capsule was the heat shield. Because when it splashed down, they brought it back, that heat shield was really torched. And that's why it's been delayed for so long, because you need that heat shield in order to come home. So it's going to be and also with the politics involved, I mean, you're going to have you have female, you have another country. There's a Canadian on board who's going to fly. I mean, this was all done with, agreements, political agreements. So, I mean, there's a lot of politics involved. Is it going to be great? I mean, with pictures and
There's also the big knob, Artemis 3 is projected to be the first time that we land on the moon.
Yeah.
That humans land on the moon since 1972. So this is a stepping stone to Artemis 3, where humans will land on the moon. Now, you could ask, why are we doing that?
To be there to find the Chinese.
beat the Chinese. That's the key.
Now it's the Chinese and stuff. Russians.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Jeff said, for Artemis 3, that's going to be the planned first landing since 1972. Now the mid-2027, they're projecting this. I'm not holding my breath, because they still have, the goal is they're going to use Starship for the human lander. They're actually going to land a Starship style spacecraft on the moon. So they're going to rendezvous in lunar orbit, and then they're going to land. So, but this hasn't even been tested in space yet. I mean, there's still a lot of testing to do. So I don't think it's going to happen in 27. If it does, I don't think it's going to be Artemis. It could be another spacecraft, maybe privately funded, or God forbid, the Chinese might get there before we do. And if you think you don't want to see me that day. Let's put it that way. So speaking of that show For All Mankind I told you about on Apple TV, it's an alternate history where the Soviets beat us to the moon in 1969, and it shows what happens after that. The space race never ended. So if you have Apple TV, I think you'll enjoy it. And plus, they play a lot of great music too. So that's Artemis. Let's hope. Hopefully, in a year, I do not say April 2027. I hope this thing gets off the ground by next year. Let's hope. Uh-oh.
You might have to click in the main window. Now you can do your page down or whatever. Yeah.
So my other Starship, the last Starship test was a couple of weeks ago. First stage, it's pretty good. Launched great, captured by the chopsticks. It was beautiful. Second stage, not so much. It blew up completely. So the first stage, they had a couple of engines failing during the boost back and landing bird, but it was still captured successfully. Second stage cutoff for the second stage, that's when all the engines basically shut down. They lost control, premature shutdown, or as SpaceX likes to call it, rapid unscheduled disassembly. In plain English, it blew up. So, but there's still, I mean, that's what they call it, rapid unscheduled disassembly. So no more kaboom. We don't want to see that anymore. So they got, in order for especially long-term human lunar missions, especially with Artemis, this thing's got to work. You can't be blowing up and then trying to put a crew on board. But they're still being ambitious, and so they're going to begin testing. They're hoping later this year they're going to do orbital refueling, because one of the things that Elon and crew want to do is refueling in orbit, like a tanker, just like you would refuel an aircraft in midair. They're going to try to do it in space and orbit, and also in lunar orbit. That's another goal. And then the human landing system, that's going to be essential to Artemis 3 and beyond. They're planning the first uncrewed test later this year, but only time will tell. They got to get their act together. I mean, because I'm getting grumpy when I'm seeing these things blow up, because as we saw with Boeing, right now, this is the only game in town if we want to get out of Earth orbit as of now. So, and then finally, what's your name, sweetie?
Sherry.
Sherry. And how old are you? You're 6. Okay. Well, I'm pretty certain, I'm very optimistic that in your lifetime, we will have bases on the moon, and perhaps one of your generation, maybe a little older, I'm hoping. But if not, someone your age will be the first on Mars, or maybe living in orbit, maybe in a hotel, because as one of the founders of our business, Mr. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, once said, Earth is the cradle of humanity, but humanity cannot stay in the cradle forever. And of course, you got to use 2001 for that. So, any questions? Okay.
Benny. Okay. I think that covers it for this month. Again, let's just give a final thanks to all of our speakers tonight. As always, keep an eye on your email and the groups.io. And please continue to hang out. Diana has brought refreshments, so we will adjourn to the library and as I said, it was clear when we came in. If it's still clear, Dave will give people the Galileo experience. So thanks again. We'll see you guys around.